So far we've talked about conduction and convection as modes by which thermal energy can be transferred, okay? Now the question then boils down to, there's a third one, radiation. And what is it? Okay, it's the beginning of spring. It's starting to get warm. We're getting closer to the 50s and 60s, I think. I can't remember. And similarly in winter, we know it gets colder, right? It gets to the 30s. Why is that? Let's have a look. So we've got the sun up there, okay? The sun up there, and we are seeing a lot more light. In winter it gets a bit darker, right? Especially darker sooner. We also know that once it gets dark, it gets colder. So why is that? It turns out that the energy from the sun, okay, remember, there is no air between the sun and the earth. Most of it is vacuum. And so clearly conduction and convection would not be particularly efficient. Therefore, what's actually going on is it's a form of electromagnetic radiation. So we have waves of light coming down from the sun and getting down here through the atmosphere, okay? So light does this, and that's why we see we are at the IU East campus now, and it's nice and bright, okay? And similarly, and as you may know, what if I go into the shade here? It gets a lot cooler in the shade, doesn't it? The reason why this is the case is because here I don't get that solar radiation coming down. I don't get as much of it, okay? So the bottom line is that radiation comes down the same way that light does, through electromagnetic waves, which the Tusi book explains is due to little particles of energy known as photons. We won't go into that in detail, okay? But one little factoid that you might want to be aware is that different objects absorb radiation differently. I don't seem to be dressed very nicely for this weather. It was a bit cold this morning, so I decided to wear my sweatshirt, okay? And it's dark. A lot of... and clothes differ in color, but at least historically, people sometimes use lighter colored clothes in the summer and darker colored clothes in the winter. Why is this? It turns out that this dark sweatshirt absorbs radiation very well, so basically it helps us absorb more solar radiation. On the other hand, okay, obviously I've got lighter clothing on as well. This white t-shirt reflects light better than my sweatshirt, and therefore it is less likely to absorb radiated heat from the sun as my sweatshirt would. And in the summer, this is useful because you don't actually want to absorb all that heat.